So today we're tackling a vegetable that is, let's be honest, famously polarizing. It stains everything. It has that very distinct wet soil taste. And yet all the research in front of us says it might just be the closest thing to a legal biological performance enhancer.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the beetroot.
It really is that love it or hate it vegetable,
Yeah.
isn't it? But when you look at these sources, I mean, from cardiovascular health to cognitive function, if you can get past that earthy flavor, you're tapping into something pretty powerful.
Right. Before we, get our hands purple, we have to put up a big flag here. While we're digging into the medical data, we are not doctors. This is all for educational and informational purposes. Please don't go swapping your meds for beets without talking to your healthcare provider.
Absolutely. Safety first. Always. Now, the core of this whole deep dive, it really comes down to one specific compound, nitrates.
Okay, which is usually a word we're told to avoid, right? We hear nitrates and think bacon, processed meats. But now the research is telling us to, load up on them?
It does seem contradictory, but the context here is everything. You see, in processed meats, nitrates can form some harmful compounds. But the nitrates you get from a beet come with all the plant's antioxidants, and your body converts them into something amazing. Nitric oxide.
And nitric oxide is the real game changer here. It's a vasodilator.
Exactly. It tells your blood vessels to relax, to widen. If you think of your blood vessels like a highway, nitric oxide is basically opening up a couple of extra lanes for traffic.
Which explains all this data we're seeing on blood pressure. The studies show beetroot juice can significantly lower systolic blood pressure. But the sources are clear. There's a catch, right? It's not a permanent fix.
Not at all. It's a temporary effect. You can't just have one glass and be done. You have to sort of keep the system topped up to maintain that improved blood flow.
Now, that same highway widening effect is why endurance athletes are so obsessed with this. It's not just about blood flow. It's about efficiency. The stat that really jumped out at me was a potential 20% increase in oxygen use efficiency.
It's a huge number. The nitrates actually improve mitochondrial efficiency. So the little power plants inside your cells just start working better. You're doing the same amount of work, but with less oxygen cost.
But the timing is crucial. If I have a beet smoothie in the locker room just before a workout, I've kind of missed the boat, haven't I?
You have, completely. Blood nitrate levels peak about 2 to 3 hours after you eat or drink it. You really have to plan ahead for that pre-workout boost.
Okay, and if we follow that blood flow upstream, it's not just our muscles. The brain data is fascinating. We're seeing increased blood flow specifically to the frontal lobe.
Which is your command center, for decision-making, working memory. There was one study with type 2 diabetics where the group drinking beet juice had reaction times 4% faster than the placebo group.
4% doesn't sound like a lot, but cognitively, that's a real measurable edge. Now, beyond the flow, there's the color. That deep, deep purple comes from something called betalains.
Yes, and those are pigments that also act as potent anti-inflammatories. Research shows they can lower inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. Plus, you're getting about 3.5 grams of fiber in a cup, which feeds your good gut bacteria.
So we have a single vegetable that helps the heart, the brain, muscles, and the gut. But, and this feels like the user error alert in the notes, you can mess this all up by cooking them the wrong way.
This is probably the most critical takeaway. Nitrates are water-soluble, so if you boil your beets, all those nitrates just leach out into the water. You dump the water, you've literally poured the benefits right down the drain.
So my classic boiled beet salad is out if I'm going for the performance effects.
Pretty much, yeah. You want to roast them, juice them, or eat them raw. That's how you preserve the good stuff.
And we can't wrap up without mentioning the red warning. Because if you start eating a lot of roasted beets, your next trip to the bathroom might be a little alarming.
We have to talk about bacteria. A high intake can turn your urine and stool pink or even red. It can be terrifying if you don't expect it, but it is completely harmless.
Good to know. Don't panic.
Yeah.
So to close this out, for anyone who's not into juicing, the sources suggest a pretty simple alternative. Beet chips, slice them thin, a little olive oil, bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You get the crunch without that strong, earthy taste.
It's a great way to start.
It really makes you think. I mean, we spend so much on pre-workouts and supplements, and maybe one of the best biological enhancers has just been sitting there in the dirt this whole time.
It really challenges that idea that a superfood has to be some exotic berry from halfway across the world. Sometimes the oldest tech is the best tech.